And we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the chat. I am so glad that you were able to join me tonight. I wasn't on last week, and so I am here with you today. And I'm so glad you're here. So, hello, Sally at Covington Creek. So, tonight we are talking about why declutter. Why should we declutter? And the answer to that question is as varied as the people that declutter. And more importantly, the decluttering experience and the decluttering benefits also vary. So it's important to find your own motivation and create a space that aligns with your particular needs and your personal preferences. It's not a one size fits all journey to minimalism because minimalism or even minimalish is not necessarily the right experience for everyone. So let's get into a few reasons why people declutter, and then we'll see if any of them relate to you. And we may also have a special guest tonight who needs to do some decluttering and downsizing. So let's get into it. So, first of all, one of the reasons why you want to declutter is because it allows you to find things more easily. You get rid of things that you don't need, the duplicates, the trash, and now you've got space for the things that you do need. Now you've got space to find those things. You've got a place for it, whatever it is, and you know where to look for it. So because you can find things, you're less distracted and you're more productive in your daily tasks. In addition, because you can find things, you're also saving time because you're not spending a lot of time circling around trying to find things. And then you also save yourself a little money because if you know where things are, then you're not spending money on duplicates because you couldn't find that thing that you needed. So you went out and bought another one and another one and another one, and then discovered you already had two or three. So that's reason number one, is that allows you to find things more easily. Another reason why we declutter is because decluttering reduces your stress level. Yes, it really does. Scientific studies have shown that a clutter free environment promotes a sense of calm, a sense of zen, and results in less stress. So that's a good thing. And most of us can relate to the anxiety that is experienced by visual clutter, which leads to mental stress, while an organized space helps create a calm and peaceful atmosphere. So, reducing clutter helps to reduce your stress. And my mom used to say that an open cabinet door did something to her. Whenever we left the cabinet door open, she would say, close that door, close that door. It does something to me. She never liked us to leave them open. And now I realize that the open cabinet door exposed the contents that was in there, and that was visual clutter, and it caused her stress. She didn't have the words for visual clutter, but she did know that it caused her anxiety, that it was a distraction. So now I wish I had been a little bit more patient in that regard. And then the other thing about reducing clutter is that it improves your mental clarity. Just clearing up the physical clutter just helps to free up our mind so that we can think more clearly. I know that I can concentrate and I can focus much better when my desk is clear. I'm not as distracted by clutter, so I can make better decisions when my desk is clear. And I'm just ready to get down to work. It's just easier to work when I've got a surface that is clear and free of clutter, rather than I have to kind of clean things up and put things away and get rid of yesterday's memories. I do much better when I'm starting fresh. So let me ask, how many of you work better if you start in a clean and organized space? If you can relate to that, drop a "that's me" in the chat. Or if you're on the replay, then drop "that's me" in the comment section. And before I forget, let me just welcome you to Homemaking with Purpose, where we bring to you the best ideas, interviews, and information for today's homemaker. I am Denise Jordan, your host. And today's episode of Homemaking with Purpose is brought to you by Apron Diva. And we say pretty and practical, an apron can be a homemaker's best accessory. And one of the things that we have available right now is we've got this little beauty here to help you prepare for the upcoming patriotic holidays. This is one we call PAT. And we've got Memorial Day coming up on May 29th. We've got Flag Day coming up on June 14th. Independence Day on July 4th, as well as Veterans Day in November. And there may be some other holidays that you choose to wear your patriotic pride on that day. So please check us out. And then we also have another one that celebrates the red, white, and blue. And that is this one. And we call it Connie because it is one of our Americana pieces. So we call it Connie. Again, there's your red, white, and blue. But you know what? This is one that I wear all year round. So please check us out at www.aprondiva.com. All right, so let me just check out the chat real quick and we'll see who has said that they can relate to that. So hello, Sally at Covington Creek. And then there is Michelle. Thank you so much for joining us. And then Deb is here with us again today. And then there's Sue. And Deb Whitmore says clutter is definitely distracting for her. And yeah, it's distracting for me too. When I have to clear things off, it just wastes time because you got to take the time to clear it up. And then there's Patience who says hello. And Erica says, yep, that's me. And Erica's always also saying hello to me and also to everyone on the chat. So yes, declutter can be a problem. All right. So moving right along. Oh, let me get that off the screen. Sorry about that. All right, so moving right along, one of the things that we also know is that when you declutter, it improves safety. Now, you're probably thinking, well, how does removing clutter improve safety? But here's the thing. If your floors or your pathways are cluttered, they can lead to a fall risk or a tripping hazard, particularly for an older adult. You've got a cord that is strung across the pathway or whatever. There's toys on the floor and someone trips over them. They can seriously injure themselves depending upon how hard they fall. So it is good to keep those things up and keep your pathways clear, particularly if you have older adults in the home. But it doesn't have to be an older adult who falls and cracks something or breaks something. So there's that to think about. The other thing that we do know is that having a clean and clutter-free bedroom improves sleep. It just helps you to unwind and just to relax a little bit more. And you can hopefully get a good night's rest. The other thing is that a clutter-free home is easier to clean and to maintain. I mean, if you've got less stuff that you have to dust and move around to organize and that kind of thing, it's a lot easier to get the house clean. And then you and your family can enjoy it much better. Instead of you spending time cleaning, you can spend time living and enjoying your family. And then a clutter-free home is more inviting for guests. And it encourages you to be more interactive socially. So it encourages you to have people come over to visit, or even if someone drops by, you don't feel embarrassed or ashamed or anything like that. Let me just share with you guys something that I found earlier today. This one just happened to pop up on my feed, and it was called Wannabe Homemaker. And this young lady is living in chaos. But now let me take this off the screen, and I'm going to share my screen again. And I am going to introduce you to, I think she said her name was Sierra. And her thumbnail had a picture of her looking very sad, and it had a big "I fail" written across the thumbnail. And I thought, oh my goodness, what is this? And she says her poor homemaking is negatively affecting her family, and she's doing a homemaker confession. And I listened to her video, and I really felt badly for this young woman. She talks about how she's not a very good homemaker, and the fact that not only is it affecting her children, but it's also affecting the relationship between her and her husband. But she starts out by showing some pictures of her messy home, and then she tells the story of being out in a play area with her two boys, and they meet another family, and the two little boys play with some other little boys. And then her son, who's like 4 or 5, says, "Mommy, can so and so come over to play? And can he come in?" And she said she had to say no. She could not have the little boy in or his mom in because her home was in such disarray. She said there were toys all over the floor, laundry on the sofa. She said the house was just a hot mess, and she was embarrassed to have anyone in. And then her husband, she said, is a blue collar worker. So it sounds like he works at a very manual labor or very difficult job, that when he gets home, he's tired and then feels like he's got to help her clean up because she is not doing what the two of them think ought to have happen in their home. And so she said that she failed and she was going to make some efforts to try and do better. So I left her a little note, but I really thought about this young homemaker, and I wondered how many of you out there have felt the same way. How many of you out there have felt the same way? And this particular young lady, like I said, is living in chaos. And according to the Fly Lady system, chaos is can't have anyone over syndrome. So C is can't, H is have, A is anyone, O is over, and S is syndrome. Can't have anyone over syndrome. And I thought about that. Now, I will admit, when I was a young homemaker, my home was not the neatest, and it was definitely a learning experience. So it is definitely something that we all have, that we have to learn how to manage. So do go back and take a look at her video. I will come over to the chat to see if anyone said they can relate to her. And the name of her video, I mean her channel, is Wanna Be Homemaker. And it's my poor homemaking is negatively affecting my family. So that is the name of the channel, and that is the title of the YouTube video. So I encourage you to go and take a look at it just so you can see her struggle. And many young homemakers do have that struggle, particularly when you add children to the mix. And she's got 2 small children, so there's that. So then we have Sally saying she can definitely relate. Oh, wait a minute. Sally says she can definitely relate to clutter being frustrating. Hey, Rachel Knight, it's been a minute since I've seen you. And then Terry is saying hello. Princessa is saying hello. Hey there. And Terry says, I've learned a little each day works for her. So doing a little bit of decluttering or something like that a day works for her. And yeah, I can certainly see that as well. So let me get on back over here now to our different little reasons why why clutter can be a problem. And one of them is that clutter can contribute to the feelings of overwhelm. And in the video, when you watch it, you will see that this young lady was completely overwhelmed by the situation in her home and really didn't have a good idea as to how to go about taking care of things. And then the next problem with clutter is that it makes you feel less than. It makes you feel uncomfortable. And she said that she failed. But if you can get your home decluttered and organized, it does boost your confidence because you feel like, I can do this. So it does make you feel better. And then the next thing to think about is that decluttering your home allows you to fully enjoy it. So once the young lady gets her home decluttered and cleaned up, then she can invite children in to play with her children. She can invite those moms in for coffee while the kids are playing because she's got confidence in herself and her ability that someone can come in and not pass judgments and make comments about that. So for those of you that are just joining us, we're getting into why we declutter and what the benefits may be. And I've given several different benefits of decluttering. And so now we're going to talk about why we start decluttering in the spring. And that is just something I find very interesting. But the reason why so many of us start decluttering in the spring is because spring is a season of renewal. It is a season of renewal. And what better way to usher in some of that freshness of the season than to declutter and organize in our homes, in our particular spaces. And it's also a time when it awakens the need to do something to rejuvenate our surroundings. You know, kind of like you see the birds out and they're building different little nests and things like that. Well, we get into that nest building frame of mind in our own homes. So that's one of the reasons why we tend to do that in the spring. Another reason why we do that too is because we want to get rid of the old, heavy, and dark clothing of winter and move into some of the lighter colors and lighter fabrics and just more colorful things associated with spring. And spring cleaning and decluttering our closets gives us a chance to usher in some of those new things, as well as to declutter some of the things that we're no longer going to be using for this season. And then if you think about it too, back in the day when people's homes were all closed up and they used coal and different things like that, by the time spring came and they could open the windows, their home would have like a layer of dust and that kind of thing. And they would be cleaning all of that out and trying to get things cleaned out and cleared out and usher in some freshness. So that is a habit that we get into from when there was a real need for that. And whereas we don't have to do spring cleaning per se like that, we still have that urge to just refresh. So yes. And then spring also finds us wanting to be out in the weather, in the elements, because the weather's starting to warm up. So we want to get outside and garden or get the grill going, or maybe just sit out on the porch or in the backyard and watch the kitties play. So this is a time that we tend to want to do that. And so decluttering and cleaning up those spaces allows us access to the tools that we need to make that happen. And then one of the activities that we so love to participate in the spring and the summer is garage sales. I love a good garage sale. So as you go through your decluttering process in that early spring and early summer, you're peeling out those pieces that you're no longer going to be using, things you're not going to be using this spring or summer, and you're donating those, or you're hosting a garage sale so that you can sell them, make a little change on those items. But yes, you're ready to do that. And then other reasons why people tend to declutter can be because they're either moving or they're downsizing for whatever reason. Oh, let me get that off the screen. Hang on a second. So, okay, so we have a guest who's going to come on in a little bit, who is planning to move and she needs to downsize. So she's going to come on with a couple of questions, but let's just see what you have to say in the chat real quick. So Terry says she's learned a little each day works for her. And Kay Washington says she has clutter everywhere. Where Kay, let me just let you know that we're going through a 30 days decluttering challenge for highly successful homemakers. And I invite you to jump in on it with us. However, if you've got clutter everywhere and you want to start with your decluttering process, you want to start in a particular area, think about starting in the area where you spend most of your time, which for many of us could be the kitchen, and start decluttering there. And one of the things that Fly Lady Cat always says is to start with the hidden clutter in those spaces. For example, if you're in the kitchen, you want to start with some of the hidden clutter in your pantry, in your cabinets, or in the drawers. Now, why do you start with the hidden clutter, not the stuff you can see? Because once you get the stuff out of the pantry and the drawers, now you've got a place to put some of those things that need to be put away. The other thing that I do want to say before you even start with the hidden clutter is start with the trash. You may think, well, I don't have any trash, but you will be amazed at what you can find that actually is trash. When I decluttered under my kitchen sink, I had a couple empty bottles of dish soap that I had been using. The bottles were empty, but they were still under there. So things like that. So start with the trash first. Just get rid of that, because that way you're leaving it better than how you started. And then start with the hidden clutter in one space, one cabinet, one drawer, or maybe you're in your bedroom and you want to start there. Then what you might want to do is start with the things on the bed or the things on the chair, and then move around the room attacking different little pieces. But okay. Deb Whitmore says, I can relate as a full-time caregiver and work full-time. We have our days here. So because she's home all day, she's a full-time caregiver plus works full-time. She has a lot of things going on and don't always have time to declutter. And then Kay says she doesn't have time to declutter. Kay, you know what? You don't have time not to declutter, because if you've got clutter everywhere, then it's just going to extend your process. And Terry says it makes her feel great to declutter. Okay, well, let's see if our guest is ready to come on. Hello there.
Hi. Hello, everyone.
Everyone, this is Lavina, and I'm going to give you full disclosure. She is my sister. So, hello, sis. I'm so glad
Hey.
you were able to come on tonight and just share a little bit of the journey that's coming up for you. But let me just ask you, first of all, let me just say, welcome to the show. And I know you are planning a big move.
Mm-hmm.
So, you're planning a big move. So, can you tell the viewers exactly what's happening? First of all, let's start there.
Of course. Well, I'm from Fort Wayne, but I'm getting ready to move out of state, and I'll be moving in about 60 days.
60 days. I thought it was longer than that.
Well, no, it's not.
Oh,
That time just went by so fast
okay.
that yeah, it's about here. So one thing I did realize was that I needed to start decluttering, getting rid of some of the things that I don't want to take on this move. And I also wanted to be able to, because I do live in an apartment, I have to be able to efficiently clean up this apartment and do a good job, because it has to
Mhm.
be, you know, up to their standards when I move out.
Oh, okay. So what you're saying is not only do you have to declutter and downsize, but you also have to clean the apartment before you leave. You have to
Correct.
leave it in almost move-in condition.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. So I was going to ask you when you're moving, because I'm thinking it was going to be much later than what you just said, but I guess 60 days, that doesn't give you a lot of time. So what concerns do you have most immediately about making this move?
Most immediately is I'm kind of like a little pack rat when it comes to like clutter. I
Oh,
have notebooks and stacks of paper, magazines, those types of things. And it's so easy to collect those
mhm.
and then you take them and you set them to the side and you think, oh, I'll get to that next week. And then you bring in the mail and you stack the mail. And then you write a few notes from things you're working on the computer. And you don't have time to really put all those things away. So you put them with some more clutter and you might start another pile. So that's the main thing for me. Uh,
Okay, so it sounds like you've got several piles of clutter around your home, and some of those piles have to do with magazines and paper and things like that, right?
correct.
Okay, so let me just suggest that what you might want to do is start addressing those piles of paper. And let me ask you this also, Lavina. Do you want to move all those magazines with you?
Absolutely not. I
Okay.
don't plan on it.
So you don't want to move those magazines and some of those papers with you. So what I encourage you to do is to get together 3 or 4 boxes of empty boxes. And one box is going to be a box for the trash, or it could be a black trash bag if you've got that for the trash.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I think the first thing you want to do is get rid of the obvious trash, which those magazines are obviously trash. If you're moving in 60 days, not only do you not have time to read a stack of magazines, you need to be getting that stuff out of there. So, one of the things that you can do that will leave the space better than what you started is to just pick them up and just drop them in the bag. Just pick them up and drop them in there, unless there's papers in there that you need to keep. So, that's the question. Are there
That's the
papers?
problem. They're all this is all mixed together. So it's like I have to go through individual pieces.
Okay,
It's
so
not
take one stack. So take one stack. Let's say you have a stack and see you don't have time to do 1 inch a day. You got to do more than that. So let's say this is a stack right here.
small
So
stack.
then what you want to do is take that stack and then you're going to have a box of things that you're going to keep, which might be papers that you need to keep, and then trash. So, and you're going to sit there and just go. Pick one up, drop it. Pick
Mhm.
another one up, drop it. Pick one up, drop it. Pick another one up, drop it. And you got to do that sooner than later. And here's the thing, what you might also consider is walking backwards, starting with the last day. For example, if you're leaving in 60 days and the apartment has to be clean, then what you want to do is get your calendar out and then plot, give yourself, say, 55 days. because you don't want to be working up until the last minute if you don't have to. So give
Exactly.
yourself 55 days and start with day 55. And on day 55, what do you want to have happen on that day? Well, you want to be maybe cleaning on day 55, maybe cleaning the kitchen or cleaning the refrigerator or cleaning the bathroom. So those are the things you'll put for that day. And then for day 54, maybe there's some other things that you'll be doing, so that you're not just trying to do everything all at one time, but you're starting with the end result and then you're working your way forward, so that by this date, this is the task you'll be working on. And as you come forward, you'll say, okay, so you want to be cleaning the rooms on certain dates. And so you want to have all of those things boxed. Everything should be boxed up by a certain date so that it's ready for the move. And when you're doing that, the first thing you want to do, though, is to get rid of the trash and get rid of the clutter. So as you're going through your paper and magazines, you want to give yourself a certain period of time to have that done. And then once you've gone through those, then what's the next big issue you've got that you need to work on?
After that is probably sorting the things in the pantry.
Now,
You
are
know,
you planning to move the food and things like that with
I
you?
don't want to move the food, but there's, there's certain things that you want to, maybe I'll give to this person or to that person. And maybe there may be one or two things that I don't think I'll be able to find the place that I'm moving to that I may need once I arrive, kind of need it immediately, which would be very few things. But
Okay.
still, I need to go through and sort that.
Well, the one thing about the food in the pantry is that most of it you still need, because you're living there, you need to eat, and you got to make meals. What you might want to think about, though, is what are the foods that you're using right now that you think you will use up before you go? What are the things that you think you might want to give away? That if you've got 60 days, what do you think you may or may not eat in the next 60 days? And then kind of plan a day to start working on that. However, your most immediate thing is to get rid of that clutter, because you don't want to try to box that up, and you don't want to make yourself crazy at the last minute. So the kitchen and the pantry is probably one of the things that you want to do further down the list,
Okay.
because right now you're still in there. But as you plan on boxing your things up, one of the things you might want to think about is organizing things by category and not necessarily by room. Now, some people will say organize by room, like, okay, box up all the stuff for the kitchen and box up all the things for the bathroom. That works for a lot of people, but considering that you're downsizing to a much smaller space, one of the things you can consider is looking at toiletries, food, shoes, so that towels, sheets, so that everything in that category is in one space. And then you can say, okay, so I've got 6 sets of sheets. I don't need 6 sets of sheets for where I'm going. So all I need is 2. So that way you get rid of, you're going to donate some of those. I had some notes about that. Let me look for it real quick. Yeah, one of the things you can consider is, like, when you categorize those things, you sorting them into groups like clothing, kitchenware, books, and then you can see what condition those items are in and decide whether or not, okay, this is kind of tattered, this is worn out, or I'm not going to need this where I'm going. Because you've got a full kitchen full of stuff, and probably wherever you're going has a full kitchen full of things as well.
Quite possible.
Yeah, so there's that. Was that helpful?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, what else can I help you with? What's another question?
I was wondering this is more to the cleaning aspect of it, is products and things to use for the cleaning process.
Well, when you get ready to do the cleaning, whatever you use to normally clean your home is going to be just fine. If you use a lot of natural products like vinegar or the Dawn dishwashing liquid and vinegar, or if you like to use a multi-purpose cleaner like Mrs. Myers, that doesn't really matter, except that you don't use anything in the refrigerator such as that. You only use vinegar or water and like dish soap in the refrigerator. You don't put those
Mhm.
products in the fridge, because if you do, those odors get into the fridge and they never come out. So you
Mhm.
don't put those in the fridge. But you can just do multi-purpose cleaners in your bathroom and everywhere. Even
Okay.
as far as the floor, you can use some of those multi-purpose cleaners for the bathroom floors and the kitchen floor as well. Don't go out and buy anything special. If it's good enough for you to live in and you have a lot of allergies, it should be fine for anybody else coming in.
Mhm.
You don't have to paint or anything like that, do you?
No, I don't have to do anything like that. One question I did have though is about, and I kind of already kind of know what to do with this, but maybe you could give me some easier ways to do this. It's like that closet with all the, not only do you have clothes in there, but you have stored so many things
Yeah.
over the months and years that it can be overwhelming.
Oh, yeah.
So
You
what
know,
would you recommend starting in a closet?
well, I would break the closet up into several pieces. And also, as you look at that calendar and you're giving yourself that list, your move is like a project plan. So you're going to have a drop dead date, which is everything has got to be ready to go by this date. And then backing yourself up as to when you need to do what. And I'll send you a project plan that I made for one of my mentees. But for your closet, break that up into a project. You've got the top shelf, you've got the rack of clothing, and then you've got the floor. And on the floor, there might be something on this side of the closet, something in the middle, and something on the right side. Decide which area you're going to start in. Maybe you'll start with a pile on the floor on the left. Work on that. And you're going to, as always, trash, put away, give away, put away, throw away. So what are you going to give away? What are you going to throw away? And what the put away is things that you're going to keep.
Okay.
And so you're going to have those boxes out. So you're going to want to get lots of boxes, because the one thing you don't want to do is when you put stuff in the box or the bag for trash, you don't want to touch it again. And the box for donate, you want to be able to close that box up and not look in it again. Because once you open it up, there's some things you're going to take out. I've done it. So that's why I'm saying, once you put it in the box, tape it shut so you don't know what's in there.
Right.
And start with one small spot, one corner. And then once that's done, then the next day you want to work on another spot. Maybe it's in the middle. And then just continue to work that way. And you want to get a lot of boxes, so that as you get those donate boxes ready, you immediately put them in the trunk of your car, immediately take the trash out to the trash, and the stuff that you're going to keep, you may put it back, in your garage, in your closet on a shelf or something like that. But you want to have it such that you can put, let's say it's, well, I don't know what it might be, but you can put it either on a shelf in there or put it in a box to prepare for you to get ready to move.
Mm.
And work around that way. But give yourself a time frame as to when that closet is going to be done. You don't want to wait to the last minute for that. So I don't know if, well, I was thinking I was getting a bunch of videos from, I bet you, comments from Mickey, because she's my assistant. So a lot of times she'll be sending me notes. So every time I hear it bing, I'm like, and sometimes she'll just start messing with me, just start sending me. And I'm like, what? So the ladies on here be laughing because they know how she does sometimes. Let's see what people are saying over here in the chat. Let's just see if anyone has any suggestions for Lavina. So Michelle, who was one of my good friends here on YouTube, she says one drawer, one shelf, one cabinet, one closet at a time. Just start with one. But remember, though, you got a deadline. You got 55 days to get all this done. So you may need to do 2 pieces in a day. I don't think 1 piece a day is going to work for you. So when you have some free time, then you might want to work on a couple pieces. And you might want to get some help in helping to pack some things up. But if you start with the obvious trash, which is in some of those piles of clutter, you'll be amazed at how much you find is not stuff that you want to take with you.
Mhm.
Because here's the thing, you want to ask yourself these questions. Do you absolutely positively need it?
Mhm.
You absolutely positively love it? And if you need it, can you repurchase it easily in your new space? If
Oh.
you can, you may or may not want to pack it up. Now, I know like when I did some decluttering in one of my areas, I got taken to task by a couple of my viewers for some things that I discarded. But I did think about a couple of them, and it was like, okay, if I need it, I can buy it again, but I don't want to take the time or have the trouble of managing it because it's inventory and you've got to manage it. I have so much stuff around here. I thought, okay, I'm just going to let this go. If I need to buy it again, I'm buy it again. So okay. So Michelle says, yes, Michelle, one drawer, one shelf, one cabinet. But Lavina, do you have a planner?
No, I don't have a planner. The planners just don't seem to work for me.
But do you have a calendar then?
A calendar I use every day.
Like a written, a hand, pencil and paper calendar?
Yes.
Okay, so then that's what you want to use. Because I know Michelle likes to use notebooks and things like that too. Not necessarily planners, but she likes notebooks. So notebook or your planner can work, not your planner, but your calendar can work well for you. And just put on there each day what it is you're going to do and then mark it off as you get it done.
Great idea. Mhm.
Okay, so let's see. So Hillary says she declutters because the house being in order helps her to relax and to breathe better. Look, now she calls me Lucy because one day she calls me Lucy because what did I do? When I was trying to make that guacamole, Lavina, this was like definitely a fail because I totally goofed it up. And then I tried to figure out how to do something better with it. And it was just a hot mess. And so when I was on the show one night and I was telling the girls about it, and I said, it was like an episode of Lucy of I Love Lucy. And so she just started laughing. And ever since then, she's been calling me Lucy. And she says, you're
Okay.
Lucy and I'm Ethel.
Okay. Okay.
And on the last video, when I was going to declutter out in the garage, and Will said, if you declutter my garage tools, I'm gonna declutter in your sewing area.
That's pretty serious right there.
Yeah, I'm like,
Everybody has something that they love. Don't touch my stuff.
yeah, right. So, but yeah, so people got a good laugh out of that. And so, Rachel, it's okay. I'm glad that you're here. Oh, you now see, Rachel's planning to move. So her and her husband right now live in Hawaii. He's in the Navy, and they've been there for 2 or 3 years. Now they're moving back to the mainland, I guess, or they're moving back stateside. Even though Hawaii is a state, they're moving back over here from Hawaii. So she's been working on planning that. So they're leaving in just over a week. So yes, it's good to see you, Rachel. And if you've got any tips for Lavina, let her know because she's planning to move in 60 days. So okay, I already spoke to Michelle. So Sally says that her motive is to declutter and organize because when her mom passed away, they had to go through their stuff. And her mom wasn't a hoarder, but she hung on to things. And you know what we had to go through when mom died, and we had to go through all of her stuff. So yes, definitely. And the bad part is your kids don't want your stuff. My kids don't want my stuff. So because they have their own stuff. So we have to think about that too. I might even do a video about that.
I think that's a good idea.
So Michelle says decluttering relaxes her brain and she can think more clearly. So now, Lavina, are you feeling overwhelmed about getting ready for this move?
No, I'm not feeling overwhelmed because I think it was actually my plan to take 60 days to move and not wait till like a few weeks before I get ready to make a move. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I have plenty of time. I just want to have a strategy in place so that I don't have to go down to the wire. I may get done long before I ever thought I would.
Right, right. And you can ask for help too. That's another good thing. You can ask for help. You can ask your siblings for help, or you can always hire help too. So don't hesitate to ask for help if you need it.
True.
And so Kay said she's going to take my advice. And then Erica says, hello, sister.
Hi.
Yeah, you guys
How
welcome
you doing?
Lavina. This is my sister, so welcome her to the platform. I forgot to say that. Uh,
Appreciate it. Hi, Erica.
So Michelle says they're not downsizing when her hubby retires. I think he's retiring in a couple of years, but they're not moving, but she's trying to declutter like they are moving. And that's the thing too, Michelle. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm like trying to declutter like we're moving. I'll say, okay, we're moving. And at one point we were going to move, and we even went with some realtor and we looked at houses for like 2 weeks. We looked at houses and they were all so small. And it was like, there's no room in these houses. And we decided, well, we better stay where we are. But even to think about going into those smaller homes that cost twice as much as the one we're in now with smaller rooms, like, where are we going to pull all of our stuff? So it's definitely something to think about. Okay. So Terry says, she pretends like she has to move and that helps her better. And then Hillary says that if the house is too messy and cluttered, it makes her feel like there's spiders crawling on her. Okay. Uh, let's see.
You know what, Denise? I will say this. When you have a lot of clutter, because I found that to be true with a lot of the mail and the little piles of junk that I have sitting around,
Mm-hmm.
you just don't want to tackle it. It's just something that you just don't want to do. And that's why you have so many piles, because it's like, I just don't, I just don't feel like it. I just don't feel like bothering that. But you
I
have to
understand.
sooner or later. So it's better to go ahead and get it out the way. You got to start sometime.
What you
That,
might want to do is make a game out of it. Say, okay, I don't feel like doing that, but I'm going to give myself 15 minutes to work on this pile. And I'm going to start with the trash. And then once you get the trash out of that pile and you see it small and you're thinking, well, maybe I can do something else. You give yourself 15 minutes and then start there. And then once it's done, then you might be motivated to work on something else. If you're not, at least you got that one pile done.
Mhm.
But considering you've got 55 days, you really don't have the option not to feel motivated. You don't have any choice.
Exactly.
Yeah, you
Exactly.
don't have any choice. So one girl, Hillary is talking about email, and yeah, I have email that is crazy. I worked on email, trying to delete email for like 3 weeks because my one of my email addresses was completely blocked, and I worked on them for weeks to get it unblocked, unsubscribed from a lot of different places that I was subscribed to, and I'm still getting all that email. So this weekend I might work on more of that, but okay. So there's that. So Lavina, Michelle says, do one drawer at a time, then take a break and do another drawer later in the day. Do that 3 times a day, maybe, or 3 times a week, and you'll have 21 drawers done in a week.
That's
Now,
another.
you don't have that many drawers probably in your house, but look at that drawer as pile.
Yeah. You know what I thought about was, and I've been saying this forever, I was just going to take all the piles and put them in a big box and just go through the one box.
Oh, that might prove to be a little overwhelming to
Overwhelming.
do that.
That was my thought, though.
I don't know. Michelle, tell me what you think about that. Because what you think about her putting everything in one big box and then just going through there. Now, that's what Fly Lady Cat suggests, is to put all your paper in one stack. And then you go through 1 inch of paper a day. And by the end of, you know, depending upon how big a stack you have, you will have gone through. And you can definitely see a difference. I'm thinking, though, that if you've got, are all of these piles of paper, or are these just piles of things?
Oh, no, they're paper.
I put all the paper in one box then. That's
Paper
what
and
Fly
notebooks.
says. She's
Like, I love these.
okay.
I have so many of them. Mickey was over one day last week and she said, I thought I liked to collect notebooks, but I think you had me beat.
Oh, you can't have more notebooks than Mickey.
Maybe I do.
Oh, okay. If it's all paper, then Fly Lady Cat says put all the paper in one box so that you see it, and then you handle 1 inch every single day. You might need to handle 2 inches every single day just to get it down because we are working on a deadline. So that's something you can do. Then it's all in one space and it's not littered over. It'll help reduce some of the visual clutter if it's all.
That's what I was thinking about.
Yeah, it'll
That,
help reduce some of the visual clutter for that. And then Erica says you need a no person. Like, no, you don't need that. No, don't keep that. Yeah,
I probably do.
you could probably use that as well. Yeah, Michelle says yes, she loves notebooks because she likes to make a list. She likes to make lists and then also you have a list of options.
Mm-hmm.
So Rachel says, now this is Rachel. She's the one that's moving from Hawaii. She's moving
Mm-hmm.
back stateside.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, just go room by room and set timers for the places like the closet, the master closet. She says she could only do 10 to 30 minutes a day in her master bedroom closet. She's got 2 littles. So,
Mm-hmm. I like that idea.
okay. And then she says, pick a day like Friday or Monday to take a box or bag to the donation center every week. This helped out a lot. So now that you're going to the donation center every day, but you have a specific day that you go, but you put the boxes in the trunk of your car every day. That way they're out of your house.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you go to the donation center, you might have 3 or 4 boxes. But once the box is full, put it in the trunk of your car. Yeah. I tell you what, that Hillary, she's so funny.
Hi, Hillary.
She loves Jackie O, in case you couldn't tell.
Well, I kind of figured that when I saw her photo there.
Yeah, she loves Jackie O.
We all did.
So Janet says she retired after teaching for 38 years and it's more than just clutter. She's accumulated so much in teaching supplies that she still can't make a dent in it. You know what, Janet? When my husband retired after teaching for 38 years, he brought home a lot of stuff. And I was just like, it took a few years for him to start to part with it. But one of the things you can do is you can look to see if there's a teacher store anywhere in your area. There's a teacher store here that you can take, like retired teachers can take some of the things they use in their classroom. And then in the fall or even all year round, when teachers are getting ready to set up their classroom or they need things, they'll go to this store and look for things that other teachers have donated or sold. So it's like a secondhand shop for teachers. So there might be old textbooks, but all the different little things, pictures and puzzles and stuff to post bulletin boards. See if there's a secondhand teacher store in your area and you can donate there. If not, collect it up and donate those things to the Goodwill. You can also donate some of those things to women's shelters and places like that because they use those things in caring for, well, like making entertainment for the children.
Mm-hmm.
So Michelle says she doesn't mind going through getting rid of things, but she just doesn't want the task of having to go through it. I get that. Just having to go through the box and that kind of thing can be a problem. And then Sue is welcoming you to the chat.
Hi, Sue.
Says we have
Thank
a good
you.
time
Thank you.
live sessions from each other. Oh, Erica says get a shredder if you don't already have one and shred as you go through things. That's a good idea too.
Well, most of what I have is really not anything that needs to be shredded because they're not really, I don't really have important papers that I need to shred. It's junk.
Then fine, pick it up, drop it in the trash bag.
But there are a few pieces of paper that are inserted in different areas. That's why I have to go through it.
Okay.
I can't just take, lump sum like that. But I get what she's saying, though. That would apply to someone, I'm sure.
Yes. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. So Michelle is saying typically she wouldn't recommend that, but since you're moving, yeah, put it in one box. Oh, she says you could drag the box into the living room and watch TV while you're going through it. She often does that.
I would definitely do that.
Yeah, you could do that.
I
While
would.
you're watching Katukalaka, you could be going
Kachukalaka,
through those. Yeah, you could do
my
that.
turkey shows. Yes.
Yes. She watches Turkish shows, and I tease her and call them Katusha Laka or whatever because I never know how they pronounce the names of them.
They're good shows.
So Janet, Michelle is suggesting you can sell some teaching supplies on eBay, and yeah, you can do that. You can also donate teaching supplies. Sometimes I just assume get it out of the house rather than have to even worry about trying to sell it. And then Kristen says she has a 3-year-old and a 5-month-old, and they came with their own clutter. Oh yeah, I agree. I get it. So Terry is saying what she would do is make a list of what's in each room, then go through each item one by one and then check them off. And she's saying, hi, sister.
Hi, Terry.
And so Surabtura says, as a single guy, it's very hard maintaining a whole house and keeping clutter to a minimum. He thinks the key is in building the habits of keeping things clean versus being more reactionary. Oh, absolutely. That is absolutely true. Unfortunately, many of us have to react to a situation because sometimes life happens. And then once we build the correct habits, we're good to go. But it's just
Right.
getting there is sometimes a problem. So I
Sometimes
see
it's a
that.
problem.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so Terry says she goes through papers when she's on YouTube watching my videos and others. So that's a good idea too. That's a good way to approach it as well. Okay, well, let me see if I have any other suggestions for you. I think we pretty much covered them, but one of the things you want to think about is like your sentimental items. You want to be very careful about those because they can be challenging to go through, things like your photographs and different things like that. So think about what are those things that you absolutely positively want to take with you. Choose those with the most emotional significance, and then you can share the ones that you don't want to take with others. Uh, I think we pretty much touched on everything. The one other big thing that I didn't mention was with your larger furniture. One of the things you want to think about when you're downsizing is to think about the space you're going to be moving into and how much space will you have, and is your furniture or the things that you have, is it going to be um, small enough or too large, or will it fit into the space you're going into? So think about that. So when you think about, oh, I don't want to get rid of this pile of magazines, or I don't want to get rid of this pile of books, well, are you going to have room to store those things
Yeah, that's true.
in the
Yeah.
space you're going into?
Mm-hmm.
Because you know how I am about all my books and things like that. But when we looked at some of these smaller houses, I was like, well, where am I going to put my books? Well, where am I going to have my YouTube studio? Where's my computer going to go? It was like there was just no room for anything. So think about, where are you going to put things? One of the things you might even consider doing is like drawing out a little diagram, a little rough diagram of the space that you're going to have to go to, and think about, okay, so if this is over here, where can this go? And that can be helpful as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hello, hello. Thank you for joining us. You just joined the live. You know what, Joanne's child, you've missed a great discussion. First of all, we talked about reasons to declutter, benefits of decluttering, and why we declutter in the spring. And then here we've got Miss Lavina, who is going to be moving and is downsizing. And so we talked about what her needs are. And then the people in the chat gave her lots of advice and suggestions. And I gave her some suggestions. So you guys are going to just have to watch the replay because we had some good discussion. But Joa says, I am so limited in space. What do you suggest for desk storage on a budget? For desk storage, well, if you've got a desk and you need to store some things, maybe you might want to have a couple of magazine racks or something like that that you can put in, or file racks that you can put things in and line them up on your desk. Um, and then maybe a tray that fits in the drawer on your desk where you put like pencils and pens and paper and things like that in the desk. But you're really going to want to try to keep it to a minimum. Since you've got such limited space, you're not going to want to store much. So you might use some of the vertical space on your desk, like going up, some different little trays that can go up this way. And then again, you might want to consider some bookends so that you can like store things like store things on the shelf this way as well. But not too many piles and things like that. You can find some good storage ideas at Michael's and Hobby Lobby and different places like that, as well as office supply stores. And then Pinterest is a good place to, like if you went to look there for ideas for desk storage for very small spaces.
Denise, I was going to add to that, there are some DIY projects that you can do as well. Just to, I saw one young lady, she had crates and she took the strip ties and she stacked the crates on top of each other and took the strip ties and connected them and set it right beside her desk where she did her computer. And she stored her books and her paper and those types of things right there, right close to her desk. Didn't take up a lot of space, but it was cute. It was cute.
Okay. And then there was someone just Michelle said she opted to buy a desk with no drawers because out of sight, out of mind, and it just shaved stuff in the drawer. She would just shove stuff in drawers and forget about it. So I see what you're saying about not having drawers because again, you do put things in the drawers and you forget about them. But sounds like they may have a need for more space. You're in a house, they may not have a house or space quite as large. Oh, and then Terry's talking about the Sunday basket. The Sunday basket is a good idea for storage as well. You can use it for filing and different things like that. And that's where you take a basket about this big and you can file some different things in it. Some of your bills, things that you just need to keep track of, that kind of thing. Yeah, that's a good idea. So Joanne's child says, I'm on a budget, don't have much items, but I find that I have knickknacks that are sentimental. You know what? Knickknacks, sentimental items, we're always going to get. Doesn't matter how much money we have, we find a way to collect knickknacks.
That's true.
But what you want to do is one knickknack in, one knickknack out. Because for every knickknack, you got to pick it up and dust around it and under it. So think about keeping those things to a minimum. Now look who is here. I haven't seen her in quite a while. Tammy is here. And it's good to see you, Tammy. We are talking about decluttering and downsizing. Miss Lavina here is moving, so she's got to downsize because she's going into a much smaller space than what she has now, and she's got to declutter. And so everyone's been jumping in, giving her ideas. And then earlier we talked about the benefits of decluttering. So that's where we are. So Lavina, I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. I think
my pleasure.
We've gone through everything. So do you have any last questions or comments you want to share?
I don't have any questions. It's been very informative. I want to thank all the ladies who jumped in and gave some suggestions. And yeah, I really appreciate it. It's been fun.
Well, good. I'm glad that you were enjoyed being with us and got some good some benefit out of it. And you've got the family hookup, so you could always call and ask if you have other questions.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I'm certainly open to coming over and helping you declutter. I'm great at throwing away other people's stuff. It's my stuff, and I have a challenge. I'm good at throwing away other people's stuff. And who knows, maybe Mickey Blue Skies would be willing to come over and help with that as well.
We'll see, because I don't mind calling either one of you.
All right. So Erica is saying, take care.
Thank you, ladies.
So, Levine, I'm going to put you in the green room while I wrap this.
Okay. Thanks, Denise.
So just hang on there in the green room. All right, this has been a great discussion. I had no idea how much stuff we were going to get into, but it was fun. And like I said, she does have the family hookup. So me and Blue Skies will definitely be giving her some assistance. So let me remind those of you that just joined us, we were talking about the benefits of decluttering. And then we talked about some tips for downsizing. So if you missed all of that, please watch the replay because it was a great topic and we had a lot of fun in that discussion. Also, I mentioned that we have 2 pieces celebrating the red, white, and blue for the upcoming holidays. So be sure to check us out at aprondiva.com. And I invite you to jump in on our 30 Days Decluttering Challenge. That has been going so well for so many people. However, ladies, I was like, what was I thinking? Now, I've talked to Michelle about this a couple of times, so I know she's gotten a good laugh, but I think when some other YouTubers issue these 30-day challenges, I'm thinking maybe they have the videos done already ahead of time and they can just post them every day. So I was thinking, okay, I'll do the challenge with you guys each day. And it is simply overwhelming to try to not only do the decluttering in those spots every day, but the other piece, the editing of the video is just overwhelming. And then, of course, life happens. Last week, I didn't do the show because we had a family emergency that I had to go and take care of. So it's like, okay, so life happened. I won't be there that night. And it's like, life happens. So next year, when we do the 30-day decluttering challenge, I'm going to have the videos done ahead of time before I issue the challenge because I've been trying to go through the challenge with you guys and it's been more than a notion. So I'm having to kind of rethink how I'm getting up the information to share with you guys. So I'll do that. So, Are we says in the Fight Club movie, they say your stuff ends up owning you. And he says he recently pared down everything that he owns down to the trunk of his car. And in so many ways, he's absolutely right in that when you have so much stuff, that the stuff becomes your priority and then it limits what you can and don't do. So yeah, when you do limit what you have, it is somewhat freeing. So, okay. So please, though, jump in on the challenge, and I will put the link in the description box below so you can jump in and join us. You can just step in where we are. You can go back and pick up those days if you like. But several people have said they've been watching and they've been doing where they can because, of course, it's just hard to do everything day by day. And we'll see what's what. And then I'm having an eye procedure on Friday. And it's just like, okay, we'll see what happens. We'll just have to see how much I get done. But feel free to jump in where you are. And so, ladies and gents, what benefits do you get from decluttering? Inquiring minds want to know. What's your aha moment? And I also invite you to please watch my shorts and watch them to the end because it really helps out my channel. I know I've been saying that every week, but when you watch the video, if you could watch it to the end, it just tells the YouTube algorithm that this video is okay. So if you could watch it to the end, that just helps me out a lot. And for more homemaking inspiration, click here. I'll see you next time. Bye. Oh, okay. Before I completely click off, the information, there should be a printable in the description box that you can click on and it will you download that printable and it'll tell you what the daily tasks are. But otherwise, I've been putting a post on the community tab where I've been talking about the daily challenge. So I'll be doing that. All right. So have a good night, everyone. Oh, yes. Be sure and hit the like button. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.